Hey there, gang. This is part 2 of a comic book unboxing video. I will link part 1 in the description below in case you missed it, but it's just me breaking into a box of comics, getting ready to grade them for sale on eBay with really no idea what I'm going to find inside until I sit down, turn on the camera, and we get to see it side by each together and have some fun talking about some old comic books. So if you like comic books, stick around. We'll pick right up where we left off last time. We're going to have some fun. Here is a Moon Knight #1, and this is a hot book right now. We have sold this, and you may remember a few videos ago that I had like 12 or 15 of them. And some of those did get posted back to back, and we had as many as, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them live at the same time during that same 5-day stretch. And as I said, they did tend to cannibalize each other's sales. I think if they had been more spaced out, they could have gone for much higher. But those went anywhere from 10 or $12 for a mid-grade book, like a 6.0, and the ones that were touching 9.0, those went for upwards of $45. And like I said, they could have done more. Warlord #1. So the Warlord is, this was a hot book for a while, and believe it or not, if the scuttlebutt on the internet can be believed, Warlord was actually at one time one of DC's top sellers. Now actually there's a big gap in publishing. There's #1, and it was like a bi-monthly book, so a couple months later #2 came out, and then it was like a long gap. I can't remember exactly how long. I want to say like 6, 7, 8, 9 months before #3 came out. And I don't know why that is exactly, because they wouldn't have had sales on 1 or 2 at that time. Why they waited so long on 3. But apparently at one time Warlord was one of DC's top sellers. I mean, it certainly survived the DC implosion of 1978. But yeah, there's #1. So if you like Mike Grell, and as I had started to say, that was a hot book for a while in the back issue market as well, but has since really cooled off. Here's not 1 but 2. So this confuses some people. First issue special is the title of the series, #8. So that confuses people. First issue #8, huh? What? But there were 13 issues in this series, and it was an early 70s version of Showcase, which was DC's book from the 60s. It spotlighted, a different character every issue or couple issues. And so this is actually the Warlord's first appearance. We just saw his first issue. This is his actual first appearance. I don't know why it says first DC issue, because I'm not aware that, Mike Grell published that character anyplace else before DC. But maybe it was to catch the Tarzan fans, because when Tarzan came over to DC, the first issues, were emblazoned with first DC issue, first, I think they even went second and third DC issue. But yeah. And so this one, as you can see, is not in nearly as nice a grade. We've got several books in this bag. Let's see, are they all that? Here's Warlord. There's another one in nicer shape. And here's another one in even nicer shape. Wow. So if you want the first appearance of the Warlord, then, I'm just looking at the different color tones. I don't know how well you can see that here, but see, this one is kind of a lighter green. This is a little bit of a darker green. And this one, that foreground is all black. And you will notice, well, the front color inks aren't that bad, so it's not like the printer just ran out of green. I mean, you'll see that sometimes. You will see, especially back in the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s, that something that was at the very front or back end of a print run, the colors might be slightly different just because of the mix on the printing press and volume and things like that. But this one almost looks like, because, I mean, it's black, because you can see here, or I hope you can see, that even though this is a dark green, Grell has drawn, at least here below the logo, the individual leaves. And on this one, that's all blacked right out. That is just some solid black ink. So I don't know what happened there. But I'm going to go ahead and call this the solid black variant. Maybe it will sell for more. No, I'm not going to do that, but I just think it's interesting. And maybe I'll look that up. Maybe maybe that is a legitimate variant. Maybe there were two printings, and one they did in black and one they didn't. I don't think so. Back during this time period, this would have been 75 or so. That's interesting. So here's the Champions #1. We've talked about this recently. The obligatory lady strongman character with his own series got kind of shoehorned in for what was initially going to be just a buddy book with Angel and Iceman. But that's another series that I loved as a kid. This is cool. The first solo outing of Power Girl, Showcase number 97. And so I said Showcase was the 60s. It was, I think it actually went into the early 70s, and then it got revived around 76, 77, and then only ran a few issues. I think it went until issue 103. It went from like 94 to 103 in its second incarnation. But again, it's a book that it spotlighted a different character initially in every issue, or every couple of issues, they would still be complete stories. By the time you get here to the 70s, one story lasts 3 issues. So, anyway, and you'll notice no boob window. They took away Wally Wood's boob window there for a while. Luckily, that came back. Godzilla #1. Hooray! Seen a few of these lately. All right, let's look at the next stack. And here's another Moon Knight #1. But yeah, now is a good time to sell Moon Knight if you have it. Days of Future Past, classic cover. X-Men 141. 120, Alpha Flight. 97, Havoc. So I always thought it was interesting the way they just glom that on there. Like no matter what angle he was posed at, that just went on straight flat. There's Iron Man 118. This is the first appearance of Rhodey, who becomes War Machine. Well, actually first becomes Iron Man in his own right, but then becomes War Machine. So he first appears there. Power Man and Iron Fist #50. So this book is one that changed titles a few times. It started out as Hero for Hire. On the cover, it was Luke Cage Hero for Hire, but in the indicia, the official publishing info, it was just Hero for Hire. And that lasted like 17 issues, and then it became Power Man. And then I guess Power Man and Iron Fist, who had their own, he had his own title at the time. I guess they were both low sellers, so they teamed them up together, and it became, talking about buddy cop things. That's basically what this became. It was two characters you wouldn't really expect to go together, but they did, and it worked out quite well. For while the series lasted, I'll have to look, but I think it was 125, 130 issues. But this is the issue 50 is the first one, and it's got the logo. This is why I started this story 10 minutes ago. It is still officially Power Man down here in the indicia, and I think it's like it's another thing I'll have to look up. I think it's around 66 or something like that the official title finally becomes Power Man and Iron Fist. So officially, it was still just Power Man's title for a while till they decided this pairing would, in fact, be permanent. And you will see this book listed all different ways. You'll see the whole run listed as Power Man. You'll see the early issues listed as Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, or just Hero for Hire. You will see it listed as Power Man and Iron Fist from issue 50. It's kind of all over the map how this gets listed in various places. But I always go with the actual official title, and this is what the Grand Comics database at comics.org goes with, the official title in the publishing information. And so this is actually not Power Man and Iron Fist #50, it's officially, it's just Power Man number 50. All right, moving on. Marvel Team Up 65. This is, I believe, the first appearance in the U.S. of Captain Britain. He first appeared in it was kind of a magazine-sized comic that was published in the UK. And you may know his sister better, Psylocke of the X-Men. But this is his first appearance in a U.S. comic. Marvel Team Up 53. This isn't a key or anything. It's just a popular book because it's a Spider-Man Hulk team up. Now, I used to think, this is Marvel Team Up 95, I used to think that this was Bobby Chase's first appearance. She actually appeared somewhere else first, and this is her first appearance as Mockingbird. So, and when she started appearing on the TV show, I'm not aware that this book really spiked at all. Marvel TV, at least up until the Disney Plus WandaVision show, Marvel TV didn't seem to have quite the same impact on comic book sales as the movies did. Marvel 2-in-1 52. Again, I don't think that's a key, but it's just not Bronze Age. This is kind of Copper Age by this point. What is this? Probably 79, a 40 center. Let's take a look. 79. Yep. So I don't know. You could call it a Bronze Age, but you could also call it a Copper Age. It's right on the cusp. Some people say the Bronze Age goes to 1985. Those people are wrong. I was there at the time, and in the early 80s, we were referring to the Bronze Age as something that happened in the past. So, anyway, this is the first appearance of Scott Lang, one of the common trope, the perennial changing of the guard, new roster issues of the Avengers. And so, this book sets out a new Avengers team, but Scott Lang appears in here briefly. And matter of fact, here he is, because there's the front door security that gets Beast and Wonder Man. And they quickly disable it, and so there's Scott Lang. Boom here. And there, that's his actual first appearance. And I think it's just those two panels, frankly. Do kids still hang posters the way they used to? Do you have a giant Cheryl Ladd poster? Farrah Fawcett, Coneheads, Christy McNichol, and whatever his name was. Yeah, so it's just those two panels that he appears in. But that counts. Technically just a cameo, but it counts. Here's some Wanda Ultron action. I was expecting Ultron and Wonder Man to factor heavily into the WandaVision show, and I was frankly disappointed when they did not. Devil Dinosaur number 1. That's some fun. Amazing Spider-Man 212. First appearance of Hydro Man. And you've heard me say before that this for me is about the cutoff date. It's about after 212 when, except for key issues, I feel like you're better off to sell your Amazing Spider-Mans in lots as opposed to single issues. But before this issue, pretty much anything you can sell as a single issue. Higher grade for the later ones, but below issue 102 or so in almost any grade. Star Wars number 4. Star Wars number 3. With Chewie not really looking very Chewie. He's looking very kind of Bigfooty, gorilla-y. Here's number 2. Are we going to get a number 1? What do you think? Nope. Number 1 probably went to CGC. But I was never a big fan of the Star Wars comics or even Star Trek books, really, because the problem was you'd get invested in the comic book and then the next movie would come out and everything would change. And like everything that you had just read no longer mattered. It was like it never happened. It all got, abandoned. So it's basically like reading any modern DC comic. This one is not high grade. It feels rough for some reason, but that's the first appearance of Madam Web. Amazing Spidey 210. Here's Ms. Marvel #1 with the, Power Girl had a boob window, and so Ms. Marvel had an ab window. I'm not sure which is sexier. Wouldn't catch Brie Larson in either one, though. Here is the first appearance of Rogue in Avengers Annual number 10. Let's see if we can find her. I think it's just like it's not a very long appearance. I think it's like just a cameo. At this point, Michael Golden's art was getting very, very intricate, almost not appropriate for the printing method at the time. You get so many fine lines here that it kind of turns to mud a little bit. Well, I don't know where she is, but take my word for it, she's in there somewhere. All right. What do we got now? Some giant size Avengers. What is somebody written on the cover here? I guess that's just an arrival date, 5/28. So this book that was cover dated for August was on the stands in May. Deathlock the Demolisher, first appearance, created by Rich Buckler. Doctor Who, first comic book appearance of Doctor Who, the fourth Doctor. And I got to tell you, Doctor Who, when I was a kid, Doctor Who was played on PBS. And it was the Tom Baker era. And I could not get into Doctor Who to save my soul. I wanted to because I knew it was a big geek thing. But, and granted, I grew up on original Star Trek. And that was, in reruns in the 70s. Come home from after school and Star Trek would be on. And those were, by today's standards, kind of cheesy sets. But, the Doctor Who sets, it looked like it was filmed by a high school drama club. And the plots were just so plodding and the pacing so slow. I've gone back now as an adult and watched them and enjoy them, but as a kid, I was like, having been reared on Star Trek, I just could not get into Doctor Who, and it wasn't until the more recent Who that I really got into it. Although now I'm out again. Demon in a Bottle, classic Iron Man 128. Nova #1. It's a book we see fairly frequently. Avengers 144, first appearance of Patsy Walker as Hellcat. Patsy Walker herself, though, goes back to the Golden Age. Black Panther #1 with some Jack Kirby art. Kirby at this point is losing a lot, although some of it may be in the inking. But Kirby didn't age well, to me. In his later years, his stuff was, I don't know. First appearance of Captain America as Nomad. The guys he takes on when America wants to control him too much, the government. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, again, these are, 30 cent, 35 cent. That's my golden age when I was a kid. And so I grew up with Captain America and the Falcon being, like Power Man and Iron Fist. It was a buddy book. And the Falcon was just as important, although he never achieved what Iron Fist did and actually got his name in the indicia. It was always just Captain America. But he was featured there in the book and as part of the logo for a long, long time. So, I could go for just a Falcon book. Maybe with the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that's on Disney Plus right now. Although you would think that Marvel would have that in the can and ready to go to drop with the series if they were going to do it. And there's really very little synergy between the movie studios and the comic books, which I don't understand either. When you consider that, allegedly Feige's in charge of everything now. But you'd have thought they'd have had a book ready to drop with the series so that, anybody who watches that TV show, gets excited wants to get some Falcon comic books or some Winter Soldier comic books, they could go to a local comic book store and get those. But nope, 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 nope. Daredevil 133. Uri Geller he's a real guy. He was like a mentalist, psychic. Now you can debate whether you think he was legit or just a sideshow carnival barker, one of these fakers. But he was a big enough deal in pop culture at one time that he actually got to guest star in a Daredevil comic. So there you go. Giant Size Defenders #1 with poor Valkyrie. She makes the headshot box here, but not the cover itself. Eternals Annual #1. Eternals 13. These books have all taken off since the movie was announced. Fantastic Four 186. I don't know if that's a key. 211. That one is a minor key. Terax the Tamer. That's his first appearance. He's a Herald of Galactus. And there is talk of him, rumors anyway, of him appearing in an upcoming movie maybe. If the Fantastic Four ever makes it to the big screen, he might be used. So that's what's kind of fueling that book. Another Godzilla #1. Here is Howard the Duck #13, and that is the first, well, not the first appearance, because they did they had a one-panel cameo in the last issue of #12. But there's the rock band Kiss, which, I mean, they were mega superstars at this time. They were a big deal. So they got to appear in Howard the Duck. Giant Size Hulk. We started out talking about my tiny size Skeletor. Now we're talking about Giant Size Hulk. Daredevil 158. That's the first Frank Miller art on this title. As you can see, he is referred to as newcomer lanky Frank Miller. Doctor Strange #1. Of course, he'd already had a series before this, the continuation of Strange Tales. He continued the numbering of that. It didn't last all that long. Got canceled, and then after a run in Marvel Premiere, he got his own title. X-Men 106, 105, excuse me. A little Fire Lord action. There's 106. 107, the Imperial Guard, which is based on Dave Cockrum's designs for the Legion of Superheroes. Most of them are. And there's an upcoming book, the only Heroes Reborn book I'm getting. It's an event that Marvel's doing in May and June. And the only book that I'm getting is the Hyperion and the Imperial Guard, just because the Imperial Guard is a takeoff on the Legion using Dave Cockrum's Legion costume designs. There is X-Men 99, 98, Sentinels. So that's very early. I mean, they started in 94, so with the Giant Size, that's only about, what, the 5th appearance of the new X-Men? Giant Size Power Man. I'm sorry, I'm 14. Luke Cage Power Man. That's the Power Man Annual, actually. Machine Man #1. Marvel Team Up Annual #1 with the X-Men. Daredevil 159. So there's some early Frank Miller. 160. So there's some Frank Miller Bullseye for you. 161, some more Bullseye. That's a popular title and a nice cover. Or a popular issue, I should say. Here's a kind of a fill-in issue. Is this Ditko? I can't remember. Yeah, it is. Art by Steve Ditko. So this was kind of a fill-in issue. See, back in the day, Marvel and even DC, they wouldn't want to mess up the shipping schedule. They didn't want their readers to get out of the habit of buying their books, so rather than just ship late, and these days they'll think nothing of shipping a book late, they'd have a fill-in issue in the can ready to go. So I'm guessing that that's what that was. Maybe Frank got a little behind, kind of right off out of the gate. So they had a little fill-in there with Steve Ditko, of all people. I say of all people, but, well, kind of like Frank Miller. You know, at this period, Steve was not at the top of his game. And also, frankly, by his apparent own admission, not really giving his best either. Because, you know, he was getting paid slave wages. And, well, I was going to blame the inker too, but it looks like he did the full art on this book. Huh. All right, so back to Frank Miller with 163, 164. It's a nice little run here. 165, they're all direct sales copies though. 166, so here's the kind of the classic Frank Miller logo. And somewhere in here, he's going to go monthly. The book is still bi-monthly at this point because Daredevil was really close to being canceled. That's one reason that Frank Miller got the job, is nobody wanted to work on the damn book. Because it was right on the cusp of cancellation. It was selling pretty low. Here's some more Daredevil. But by God, Frank Miller turned that around. And this is a newsstand copy, so a little extra. And this is the last stack. This is it. This is the end of this book. It looks like we're going to finish out strong with Daredevil. 172, some more Bullseye. Daredevil goes berserk. 173. Elektra and the Gladiator. And that's kind of a weak drawing. 175. 176. 177. We got two more to go. 178. It's a weird choice. Apparently to fit in all this, they had to move the logo up, and so they cropped the banner. It's weird. And boom! Well, we kind of hit the skid. Well, I wouldn't say hit the skids, but hit reverse. We were marching up the issue numbers, but now we're right back. And this is actually Bullseye's second appearance. He first appeared in number 131. So this is the second appearance of Bullseye. So there you go. That's it. That's this box. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe. And until next time, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.